Hey everyone, here we are live. Only 5 seconds late. That's not too bad, at least where I'm at. Before we get started, I always do a little bit of a check to see if everyone can hear me, see me, if everything's looking good. So for that, we have the comments. It would be great if everyone, well, not everyone, that may be asking for too much, but if you can hear me loud and clear, if you would maybe leave a comment, that will be highly appreciated. And we're in luck because earlier today I had some internet issues, was being a bit slow, but it seems that we are good to go. And to make this a successful webinar, I'm excited. So if you're excited and you can hear me, I would appreciate a quick comment or a note or a thumbs up or just a wave. Just give me anything. That would be very helpful. I can already see Margot, so that is good. Then LinkedIn user, it's weird because I don't always see the names of people. From some people, I see the name. From others, I don't see the name, which is a little bit odd. I wonder why that is. Kurt, good to have you here. You can hear me loud and clear. I'm very glad to hear that. Amir, hey Amir, good that you're here. So for those of you who were on the last webinar, yes, I changed my setup a little bit, like some small tweaks. And yeah, I'll be experimenting with that a little bit. But you know, the value is not in the setup. The value is in what we're talking about today. So everyone can hear me. That's good. I'll stop talking about myself, my setup. We'll dive into the reply agent or the AI agent was instantly, because that's why everyone's here. First of all, thanks everyone for showing up. I'm really excited to talk about AI agents. So AI agents, there's a lot of, there's not a lot of buzz around it, and everyone's talking about AI agents. And I'm confident that everyone is here, or most people are here who they have at least dabbled in using AI, and they've tried using AI for, a sales or marketing use case. AI agents are that next step, that are agents who you can view as, let's say, employees who can take autonomous action for you, whether it's in your account, in your inbox, you name it. And for us, we are really excited to have been able to ship the reply agent, because that's something that solves what is a really, really big pain. So just sort of taking this back a little bit to my own Outbound was when I was running an agency. It is so difficult to manage a lot of replies, right? Now, it's a good problem to have, but it's still a problem where you're getting replies. And first of all, is the volume. Then in my case, there were a lot of different use cases that we had to learn, because you have different clients. So for every client, you need to have like a document to know, okay, this is something that we can say to this question. That is something that we can say to that question. And even if you're not running an agency, but you're a business owner and you're hoping to just hire a sales rep to ramp them up, it's difficult, right? Because you have to explain to them exactly what it is that you do. This is how I think you should be replying. This is how you answer that question. And it's tricky because you have that, that training. And there's also the matter of consistency. How do you make sure, which, spoiler alert, you don't, how do you make sure that that human that's doing the replies for you, that they consistently have good replies? Those are all issues. And then we're not even talking about something like speed to lead. So there's someone who's interested, and okay, I'm busy doing my job, so I haven't checked my inbox for a bit, and now it's an hour later, and maybe they're off doing something else, right? So it's common knowledge. The quicker you are to respond to a lead, just the higher your chances are of actually converting that lead. There's that. There are a lot of additional benefits. We'll talk about all of that later. For now, we're going to go through the presentation a little bit to show you exactly, okay, what it is that I'm talking about. What is this reply agent? What are AI agents in Instantly? And then we'll show some examples, because there's first, let's call it the theory. This is what it can do. Then examples definitely help to show you, okay, this is what the output looks like. These are the actual end results. And then we'll obviously set up the AI agent within Instantly as well, which is probably the most important thing, so that you're able to get going there. So I'm ready from my end, and I'm going to talk a little bit about, let's say, generally these AI agents, what it is that what is that they can do, what it is that they don't do. If I'm going a little bit quick, or you're missing something, or you're not 100% sure about something, don't worry, because there will be an opportunity to ask questions later. Plus, we're going to actually go through all of the steps of setting up an actual AI agent in Instantly. So hopefully most of your questions will be answered by then. If not, you can ask your questions. That's obviously no problem at all. That's why we're here. So the AI agent is an agent that manages your inbox for you. So you're sending these campaigns in Instantly, things are going well, and people are replying, they're responding. Maybe they're not ready to book a meeting yet, and you don't want to have to think about that, because you're doing your job, you're focused on a lot of different things. That's where the reply agent comes in. It has full context about your business. It knows what you do. It knows how you like to talk, and it replies to these people, and it just keeps the conversation going until there's a meeting booked. Now, there are different methods, because people aren't always 100% comfortable when it comes to AI sending out emails in their name, which is something that, it takes a bit of fine tuning in some cases as well, and that is completely fine. For that, we have what we call human in the loop mode, and then there's autopilot mode. And autopilot mode, pretty self-explanatory. You set it up, you forget about it, it will send email replies for you. Then human in the loop is where you say, okay, I want you to do all the work, but I want to check your work before it goes out. And then the moment you say, okay, this draft looks good, you say, great, look good, and it actually sends. But you can also say, okay, you know what? Excuse me, I would change this sentence a little bit, and that's good to know. Then I can also add that to my fine tuning, and I can also add that to the knowledge base of the agent. So those are two options that you have: the reply modes, human in the loop, you check everything, and then autopilot is just full hands off. It's your choice, your control. Then there's the fine tuning that you can do. There's a lot of fine tuning that's going on. So there's what you see in this example. There's more fine tuning that we can do later. Now, here you can say, I want my agent to handle follow-ups. I also wanted to respond to something like auto replies, for example. Now, you may think, okay, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. In some cases, it does, if you're sending a bit low volume, and that you don't mind just sort of handing over sending capacity to that, then it could positively influence your, let's say, your reputation, your sending reputation, because there's some conversation going on, and there's basically no downside to it, except for you're reserving sending capacity for that. Then handle objections, declines, or negative replies. Now, what that does, and I'll show you later what that does exactly, but in a nutshell, it will say, okay, if there's a negative reply that is sort of a nice negative reply, someone saying, you know what, just not for me, thank you very much, it will say, sure, that's fine, thank you for letting me know, have a great day. Again, it's good for your brand, good for your sending reputation. There's no real downside to it. Same with objections, declines, it will respond to that, it will try and work around objections, etc. You can turn it on or off. So there are different types of behaviors you can fine tune. And then It could be that you're saying, okay, I have a lot going on my account, or I have different, projects I'm managing in my account. I don't want it to handle everything. You can just simply tag campaigns or accounts, and it will handle those. So you could say, for maybe, my my tier one clients, I want to do everything myself, my tier one prospects, and then the tier four, tier three prospects, or prospects that maybe are a good fit, but probably not. Let's just have AI handle everything. If we can get some meetings, great. Different use cases for that, but it's very helpful. And then there's the tone and style that you can guide, which is what most people find most important, because everyone communicates in a different way, right? You and I communicate differently. There's different ways when you're talking to a Fortune 500 CEO or C-level executive, or maybe a marketing person at a smaller firm. It's just a different way of communicating, a different way of writing, talking to each other. And you can help define that. Excuse me, I'm going to get some water. So you can help define how your AI sounds. And then we're talking about tone, length, and style. So it's not just saying, okay, this is how you should talk, but also when should they bring a human into it? When should they ping you like, hey, here's something that maybe you should take. And there's a lot more that you can do, which we'll talk about later. Excuse me. Then it's built to integrate. So what that means, it integrates with Slack. So there are sort of notifications. What we usually recommend is you set up a separate channel in Slack, for example, instantly AI agent. And that's where all the conversations, you can follow all the conversations, but that's where all that's going. And you can use a Calendly link so that it will keep the conversation going. It will send your Calendly link to these people the moment they're ready to book a meeting, so that it will actually handle that part as well. Because in the end, that's all, in most cases, that's all that we want, to book a meeting. Then before we dive into setting up these AI agents, we're going to look at some replies written by the AI reply agent, because the cool thing is that in a lot of cases, it writes something that is as good as how humans would do it, and in some cases even better than how humans would do it. And it writes at a really high level. So then here, just a really simple example where you send a campaign saying, with a lead magnet, say, okay, here's I created a video on how to scale your business. Is there something that you're interested in? And when they say yes, now previously you would use you would tag it would go into subsequence and this and that. These days there's nothing like that anymore. It's just a matter of, okay, I tell my AI agent what the idea is. Like, okay, this is the lead magnet that we want to send. The AI agent gets it. Whenever someone just replies positively, or it notices that this isn't the time to send that lead magnet, it will send it, and it will keep that conversation going. Then I'm not going to read out all these examples, but I will share the deck with the examples for people who are interested. So I'll drop that in the LinkedIn event, just like last time. So for anyone interested in the deck and the examples, it will be in the LinkedIn event. So for those of you watching on YouTube, that's where you want to go. And this is just an example on the AI agent attempting to book a demo, pushing towards a demo. And it's, for example, it depends on the tone that you're setting. In this case, it says, it was a pleasure speaking with you the other day. Again, you may word that differently, and then it also says here on the bottom, like, update instructions. You can just keep fine-tuning it as you wish. And then it's the small things where maybe in some cases you wouldn't even reply. In this case, if someone says, sure, I forward it to marketing, if there's a use case for it, we'll let you know. Those are maybe leads that you wouldn't really pick up on, but the reply agent does it for you, which in the end just helps a lot in keeping all those conversations going and keeping all those conversations open and making sure no leads fall through the cracks. So those are just some examples of the replies that it comes up with. Again, the deck with the replies and all the examples will be in the LinkedIn event, so you can check that out there. I'm going to dive into actually setting up a reply agent instantly. We'll go through all of the steps, and we'll go through all of that. Now, as I'm doing that, as I'm sharing a different screen, maybe you have some questions that you feel, okay, even if you're going to show me how to set it up, I still have that question. So everyone has, a minute or two now to drop their questions in here. Or if you just want to say hi, that you're happy to be here, now's the time. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to go into a bit more of a practical part of actually setting up an AI agent. And Kurt, it's good to have you here as well. Here we go. So here's the AI agent. Kurt asking if there will be a recording available. Yes, the recording, it will also be on the LinkedIn event. So just after we close the event, it will automatically just have the entire video available for replay. Doesn't mean that you need to leave right now, but yes, you can watch it back if you want to review all the instructions, everything. Then you can just do that at your own pace on your own time. Harry's happy to be here. Harry, I'm happy that you're here as well. And then here we are in Instantly. And again, there will be a replay. There's also in the help desk, there's this article. I will reference this article a little bit later, but here it will go through all the steps as well. So you have the replay available. There's the help article available. And now, live, you can ask any question that you have. And we always have live chat available as well for any questions around the agent. Then here Instantly, the very last item in your navigation bar on the left-hand side is called AI agents, and you can set up an AI agent there. There's only one choice available right now, so I left out that part. But then as you're here, you can create a new AI agent. You can name the agent in this case, you can name the reply agent, just whatever helps you stay organized. Then there's the reply agent. And here we have the two options that we talked about earlier. So there's the human in the loop one, and there's the autopilot one. Now, human in the loop, just to repeat myself, just to make sure that everyone knows what I'm talking about and what they're dealing with, is that human in the loop, it will do just that. It will keep you in the loop. So think of it sort of like training an employee. When you're training an employee, on the first day, you don't tell them, okay, here's the inbox, good luck. You tell them, here's the inbox, this is more or less what you should say. Just, drop me a message on Slack whenever you want to send something, I'll review it. And that's what this more or less does as well. It will suggest follow-ups, and you can just say, okay, this is good, this is not good, I will change this. And then for yourself, you can then say, okay, here's something that I often see it not doing great. I will just add that to, the knowledge base of the agent. And then that way you keep training the agent. And then once you're comfortable with it, you can switch to autopilot mode, for example. So those are the two differences, where the autopilot mode also does things like update lead stages and CRM status for you, etc. But most of all, just automatically replies to all your inbound leads. So it really is just a fully autonomous AI agent that works for you. And these are agents that have been trained on millions of data points that we have available, which means that you don't need to be technical at all. When you hear AI agents, some people think, oh, I'm going to have to learn how to code, or I'm going to have to read, hours of documentation. Not the case. These are pre-built agents, and you just have to set them up for yourself. In this case, let's go with the autopilot mode. Quick question before I keep going. So Ang is asking, how can I learn more about Instantly on my own? You can check out instantly.ai, and if that leaves you any questions, then just drop a message in the chat there, or you can book a demo there as well on instantly.ai. Then here we are in the settings. So we've set up our agents. We've chosen autopilot mode, which means that the agent will just send replies for us and we can focus on other things. Should the agent handle follow-ups? Yes, it should. In our case, so we'll keep sending follow-ups. Should respond to automatic emails. Me personally, I usually turn that to no. That's a personal preference, because for me, it's a sending capacity thing where, especially if you're, a higher volume sender, that becomes a thing. If you're sending really low volume, like there's no real downside to it. But in most cases, people just turn it off just because of the sending capacity thing. Then handle objections, declines, or negative replies. So here's that little, information point where it also says that there's leads who seem upset or asked to be unsubscribed, those will ignore. because it obviously isn't a great idea to keep emailing them. But in cases where someone says, you know what, great email, but not really for me, thank you very much, it's good to say, okay, sure, thanks for your time. That's good for, for your brand, for, there's no real downside to it. So that's, handle objection, declines, and negative replies. I usually leave that on. Then there we can hit continue. Here, campaigns and accounts, you can tag inboxes that you wanted to work with. As I said earlier, it can be different use cases for it. Maybe you're selling different products and each product maybe has own campaigns, inboxes, and should have a different reply agent. And other use case, maybe you have different clients in your account, and you haven't really worked with different workspaces yet. Or another use case could be that you have different tiers of accounts you're reaching out to. Different use cases for, but it's very helpful where you can just say, okay, I want to use it for this, but not for that. And that's where you do this. So in the campaigns and accounts part, you tag the campaigns and accounts first, and then you can use that here. Then this is the big part. So this is the part where you want to spend most of your time. Everything before this is pretty straightforward. Then here is where you really give the agent more guidance and where you fine tune it and train it to be your number one employee. There are different tones of voices. There's no real need for me to explain it, I suppose. It's friendly, neutral, etc. Test them, see what you think is best. Then the response length, I usually go with standard, but some people prefer short, some people from a thorough, where thorough, yes, you can add more information there. If you're selling a really complex product or service, that may make more sense. That is obviously up to you. Then communication styles, so different communication styles. For example, here's a really simple prompt: maintain a professional yet approachable tone. Now with all of these, when you add new guidance, here, for example, you can do it like so, a really simple one-line prompt, two-line prompt. And then there's here that optimize button that will help you optimize it. So you write something really short and it will help you optimize the prompt for you. So you don't need to be a prompting expert. You just need it to say what you want to achieve, and it will optimize that prompt for you. To give you an example of what a prompt could look like is something like here that you can find in that help desk article that I showed earlier. So this is an example of what guidance can look like. And as you can see, this prompt is pretty in-depth, but the optimize button will help you with prompts like this, so you don't have to come up with all of this on your own. It's something that is really meta, but AI will help you train the AI, which I think is great. So that's what that optimize button is for. Just write in plain text what you want to achieve. It will help you do it. There's that. So you can train on the communication style, different communication styles, but also context and clarification. Maybe, well, not maybe, but in a lot of cases, you already know. For example, if it's a lead magnet campaign, you already know what the reply should look like, and then you can say, okay, this is the follow-up that the agent should send. Or in case of questions, you already know, okay, these are some of the questions that we usually ask. Let's just drop them in here, and the agent will find the right point in the conversation to insert those questions. Like, what is not a great example? What's your ad spend, for example? Or, do you already run outbound or what have you? So that goes in here, context and clarification. Anything around that goes in there. Then handover and escalation. So this is a fairly obvious one. So avoid engaging with extremely angry individuals. We've all encountered them. I'm not going to name any examples of some of the emails that I've seen, but some people do get really angry about cold emails. But you can also say, if it turns out to be a really big whale of an account, they say we're spending 5 million per year on ads, that's where you want to take over. You can add that in here as well. Or if it's a really technical question, maybe it's being asked, then you'll prefer, because it's really context based and you prefer to handle that, that's where you add that, and the agent will just route that reply straight to your team. And then other guidance and information, something like, engagement follow-up, demo booking. So invite users to schedule demo here when there's a positive reply, something that we have. So when someone says, sure, that sounds good, we try and get them towards a demo. So you have your Calendly link in there. There's that, but there's also maybe additional context about your business, your product, your service. anything else that you want to add goes in there. And this is something that is not a set and forget type thing usually. It's where you usually start with human in the loop, and you try it out, you train it, and the moment that you see something come up, you add it here. You see something come up, you add it here, you keep adding. And then after, could be a couple of days, couple of weeks, after a while, you're happy with it and you set it to that set and forget mode. And that's where it really adds a ton of value, even more value than with the human in the loop mode. You hit continue here, excuse me. That's where you get to the integrations part. Straightforward. So we have a internal Slack channel, inbox manager alerts. It just, we keep track of all the replies in there. It's fun to see those conversations going. It's good to keep a little bit of an eye on it every now and then. We do usually mute the channel and just jump in it every now and then just to make sure that things are running smoothly. And then you drop your Calendly account in there. And then that's the Calendly account it will use to book demos with prospects. So it will shoot that account to them the moment there's a positive reply, the moment someone indicates that they're ready to book a demo. The AI agent will help with that as well. So you don't have to worry about anything like that. And that's where the setup of the AI agent stops. It's really straightforward. Where you'll spend most time is in this tab right here, the AI agent guidance, where you'll just build a data bank and a guidance system for your AI agent. Most other things are straightforward. You set your integrations, that's it. And again, it will handle every single reply for you. We're sending millions of replies per month for our users now, and they're saving hours and hours per day. And it's something that we feel that anyone can benefit from because it frees up a lot of your time. It's really consistent in its quality, so it always writes as good. I mean, that's a big claim. I should be cautious with that, but it nearly always writes as good as most humans would, and sometimes writes even better. It is really consistent in that, and there's the really big benefit. Okay, there's that speed to lead where it always replies quickly, and you don't have to worry about your inbox refreshing your Unibox or checking Slack notification and jumping into instantly and just replying quickly, which is just a big, focus breaker. The AI reply, the agent does it for you, keeps those conversations going, so no leads fall through the cracks, which is really helpful as well. And that's where we see most users just getting a ton of value out of it. That's the reply agent, and that's the setup. Now's the time to ask questions. I already see some questions coming in there as well in the chat. So let's see. There is Amit, can this be done for personal Gmail accounts? Cannot. So we do only allow for our business emails within instantly. Do you handle this chat box or emails too? I'm not sure if you mean on instantly on the website. If you also have an email address, you can find that on our website. But usually we handle most things via chat, which we find to be more convenient for people. Then Kurt will review it later, which is very much appreciated. Kurt, it's good to have you here. And Enrico, also good to have you here. Let me know if you have any questions about the AI agent. Hope I didn't go too quick. Again, for those of you who did think it was quick, or maybe they feel they missed something, there's the help article right here, which you can find in the help desk. It has all the steps in here. So step by step goes through everything, how the setup works, everything that I went over, it explains it. And there's the actual recording of this event will be available on LinkedIn. So on this event, you can just rewatch the entire video. You can pause it and then just keep going, and you can just follow along at your own pace as I'm building that out. Someone asked, can you set rules on how quickly you want the agent to reply? No, not yet. So that is a very interesting question. Would be curious to hear about your use case. If you're saying, I feel that 30 seconds doesn't feel natural, or you're saying, I think it should be longer for whichever reason. It is interesting. It's not something that you can set currently. I'm curious about the use case as well, but the simple answer to your question right now would be a no. But if you have more info on your use case, then definitely let me know. Rashid, thank you very much. Then let's see. Let's see. So questions about the credit. Let me see and pull this up. So there's a bit of a delay always on the stream, so that when you're asking your questions and it seems like I'm taking a second to get to it, that means that's because of the delay there is on the stream on the stream. So about the let's see. So asking more about how to get in touch with us. If you have a specific question about contact us pages, etc., etc. I'm not 100% sure what you mean by that, but if you have really specific questions like that, drop them in the chat. And because I'm not 100% sure what you mean by the contact us page, and etc. So drop that in the chat on instantly.ai, and then or drop it on LinkedIn in the event there, and I'll look deeper into it and hope to answer your question there. Then about credits. Let me see. That is right here. So the reply agent is 5 credits per reply. That is let's call it a flat fee. So there's not something that varies per type of reply, or there's no bulk pricing for it right now. It's 5 credits per reply. And that is the current, let's call it launch pricing. So there's no need to think about different reply agent or human loop or what have you. For every reply it writes, it is 5 credits. You can find that here. So when you head to the AI agent's view, after you name it, then AI agent selection, you can see it right there, what the credit cost is. There's that. Those are most of the questions that I see. Also last time, questions about credits. So hopefully that answers it. You can find that here on when you're setting up your AI agents. You can find anything about credits. So do we need certain type of credits? Need the instantly credits that you can purchase through your account, the regular instantly credits, and it will cost you 5 credits per reply. Then more about the credits. So we did answer that. So about setting different rules for applying, it is a interesting use case, and I'll run it by the team. It's not an instant 1-second reply, so there is that natural component to it. But then again, excuse me, to have that as an option, sure, I can understand that some people would like to set a custom time or influence that. It could be an interesting option to add in the future, but it's not an instant 1-second reply there currently is. So there's definitely that natural component to it. Then Kalyane, okay, great. Yeah, reach out in the chat, and then hopefully we're able to answer your question there. And those seem to be the questions that people had. Someone mentioned that it was well explained, so I do appreciate that. And hopefully that's the reason why there are more questions. What my teacher always used to say when I was still in school, that when there are no questions means they did a great job. I like to think that's the case here. But if you have any other questions that we didn't answer here, whether, that is now as you're watching live, you can still ask them. But if you're rewatching the replay, just ask them in the chat on instantly.ai. We're very happy to answer any questions that you have there. But we also have the Instantly community. So if you head over to instantly.ai, in the navigation bar, you can find the Instantly community. That's a Slack community. And that's where we're very active as well, where we're very happy to answer your questions, where you can do things like drop your email copy and we will give you feedback on your email copy. You can ask questions, you can give suggestions, you can ask for help about technical things, anything. So if you head over to instantly.ai, you can join our Slack community there. If you had specific questions about this webinar, about AI agent, they can go there. They can go on the chat on instantly.ai, whatever you feel is the best way for you to get in touch with us. And we're always very happy to answer any questions there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Let me see, remove this. Then I'm going to give this another minute or so because we were pretty quick today. So I'll give everyone another minute or two to ask any questions that they may have, and then we'll sign off. And again, The replay should be available directly after the event on LinkedIn. If you're watching this on YouTube, just head over to LinkedIn where you can find it. If you cannot find it on YouTube, and then for any questions, definitely make sure that you join our Slack community, which you can find on instantly.ai, which is where we're always, well, I wouldn't say 24/7, but we're very active, answering questions, helping out people with anything around Instantly, but also general cold email. Hey, even if you're not using instantly.ai and you want us to have a look at your cold email copy, you can just come by, say hi, and we'll look at your copy. We're very happy to do that. Then seems there are no more questions, which I think I'm happy with. Kurt says much appreciated and great demo. Thank you very much, Kurt. Thank you very much for showing up, for being here, for your kind words, for engaging and paying attention. And yeah, you asked about the replay. It's available, and just follow it along step by step. Pause it where you need to. And then there's also the help desk article, help.instantly.ai, where you have it with images, step by step, explained what everything is, what everything does. That's there. I'll be signing off in a few seconds. If you have any questions after that, our Slack community, our live chat, and as you know, I'm on LinkedIn. Just connect with me on LinkedIn. And for any specific question about today's webinar, happy to answer those personally as well. Thanks everyone for showing up. Been a great time. Hopefully I'll see you again at our next webinar, which should be a good one as well. And hopefully we'll chat more in the Instantly.ai Slack community. And have a great rest of your week, everyone. Bye-bye.